All right, so I'm sure at this point, everyone has seen the part from Chris Rock's new Netflix special where he's roasting Will and Jada Smith. And I think most people thought it was really funny, and those two goofballs deserved it. And Chris has handled the whole situation very well. But of course, Will and Jada, they think otherwise. They still cannot handle some jokes made at their expense. And Will thinks that Chris went too far. He feels hurt over the comments, and he said he would like Chris to get over it. And Jada thinks that Chris is just obsessed with her, and she wishes he would stop talking about her. These two are the most delusional people alive. Could you imagine? This guy slaps a comedian in the face on national television over a joke, and he doesn't expect the comedian to make fun of him for it? I mean, Chris handled this in the most professional way. You know, he could have done so much more. He could have pressed charges. He could have hit him back. He could have caused a whole scene, which I think most people in Hollywood would have done. So I'd say Will got pretty lucky here. He's lucky Chris is a classy guy. You know, I don't think Chris even talked about it too much right afterwards. I think he just made a few statements. He didn't really pile on at all. He just waited till a year later, and he made fun of him in his special. Of course that's going to happen. Like, you can't expect to slap a comedian over a joke that you were laughing at, but then got offended because your wife was offended by it. You can't expect that to happen and then just get away with it. Like, obviously Chris is going to respond to that and make fun of you for it, and he deserves to do that because, you know, he took a hit from you, now you're taking a hit from him. But as expected, Will's fragile little ego couldn't handle it. Apparently he can only take embarrassment from his wife. It's hilarious. He hit somebody and he wants to be the victim so badly. He wants people to feel bad for him. But then in a situation where people actually do feel bad for him with his wife, he acts like everything's good and he'll defend her. This man is so confused, and I don't know if he'll ever understand what's really going on. Everybody else understands. Everyone sees the problem here, except for him. He thinks everything's good, and him and his wife, they put all their personal life out on the internet, which they don't need to do. I mean, those two can just shut up. They don't need to tell anybody about their entanglements. But instead, his wife likes to embarrass him in front of everybody, and he just takes it, and then he takes it out on somebody else, which basically proves everyone's point and gives everyone a reason to make fun of him and his wife even more. And then obviously the person you took your anger out on is going to respond to this, and he's not going to be happy about it. It's like Will just expected Chris to take it. He gets slapped in the face on national television. It's like, dude, you got to get over it. I'm sorry, I'm a cuck. I guess that means you have to be one as well. But of course, no, Chris Rock, he justifiably responds to him. He roasts him, and he just talks about what his wife has already been telling the whole world. And then he says what everyone else has been saying and thinking for the past 5-10 years. And now Will and Jada think they're the victims here somehow. I mean, they just got exactly what they deserved. They asked for all this, and they didn't need to respond to Chris Rock's special. You know, they could have just let it go, been like, all right, I understand where he's coming from, obviously. He's probably a little upset about getting slapped in the face. I'll let him get this off his chest. Hopefully we could start fresh and all this. But instead, they're all like, oh, poor us. We're the victims here. What are you guys talking about? You guys are out of your minds. And now his wife is trying to like promote some book she has coming out about her relationship with Will and how rough it's been. Like, what is going on here? These two are never going to learn. You don't need to tell the whole world about this stuff. You can just be quiet. Nobody needs to hear from you. But these people just love the attention, and Jada thinks the whole world revolves around her. I mean, she's talking about how Chris is obsessed with her. He's been talking about her for like 30 years, and the reason he did his special in Baltimore is because it's her hometown. And then she's also upset with Netflix because they let Chris get away with saying that stuff about her. But of course, she's not going to change her behavior at all. She's never going to realize that she could be part of the problem. Like, after this mess, she's really going to put out a book about her and Will's relationship. That's the best move here. Clearly, she does not care. She just wants to make money, get attention, embarrass her husband. That's all she cares about. And then Will's going to sit there and take it until somebody makes fun of him or his wife, and then he's going to act like that's the real problem here. I mean, he's just never going to learn. It's just going to be the same cycle. And at this point, I don't think anybody should feel bad for him. Also, the guy's a hypocrite. I mean, he loses his mind and slaps somebody because they make the most tame joke about his wife. But then there's this video of him on set for a movie with Margot Robbie. And while she's there and a bunch of other people are working on the movie, he pulls up this NSFW picture, deepfake picture of her, and starts showing everybody, and he thinks it's the funniest thing ever. So if he has no problem doing that and he thinks that's funny, I think he should be able to take a mild joke about his wife. Because could you imagine if somebody was doing this with a picture of his wife, like showing a picture of her, maybe with the guy she had the entanglement with, like doing a deep fake of them? He would lose it. He would go berserk. He would end that person, whoever is showing that. So I mean, I don't feel bad for the guy. The guy has had enough chances. He clearly is not going to learn. And I think it's just insulting to everybody. The fact that he's trying to act like a victim now in the whole slapping situation. I mean, that whole thing was insulting. It was just embarrassing all the way around. Like at the Oscars, right after he slapped Chris Rock in the face, they gave him an Oscar like 30 minutes later. and he started crying like he's the one that was just attacked on stage. But I will give it to him. At least he made the Oscars entertaining last year. You know, people are just watching that less and less. It's just so boring. Nobody cares about that anymore. But last year, I think people were like, man, maybe I should have tuned into this. All right, so that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out my Patreon account. I have a bunch of videos up there. I'll put a link in the description, and then make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about all this. Then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.